Scholastic Audio presents Free Period by Terese. Read by Josephine Huang and Cassandra Morris.
Pleasantly shocked by the enthusiasm, Wells, but you can't check someone who doesn't have the ball, Coach said. Also, you can't check anyone, because we're in gym. It's fine. I have to take a dump anyway, I said, and handed him my stick. Gracie sat up from where she'd been sunbathing in midfield. Me too. Coach launched into a soliloquy on class disruption, our responsibility to use the toilet in the 34 seconds we have between classes, and the need for team cohesion. Imagine the brainpower to be saved if these adults trusted us to use the bathroom when we needed to. Not that I actually needed to use the bathroom, but still. Gracie gently interrupted him. It was Sloppy Joe Day. Coach reconsidered things mid-sentence. The look on his face told me he too had experienced the eternal question of whether sweet cafeteria meat of unknown origin was worth the inevitable intestinal distress, and made the same bad decision I always did. All right, he relented. But get back here quick to circle up. Somewhere between sleeping on the field and sucker punching your classmates, I think one of you will score. I locked my arm in Gracie's and turned us toward the building. Why is it always circle up to score and never for anything good, like summoning a spirit? She said. Will summoning a stink do? I said. I'd been up most of the night putting the finishing touches on my carefully calibrated contribution to the prank. A stink diffusion apparatus with chambers on each end to hold the stinks before they mixed in the middle, where a tiny fan would release them into the world. The compression sleeve was outfitted with a timer so we could set it up and be long gone before deployment. Laying everything out on the locker room bench, I felt this weird twinge of pride. Gracie? I whispered. She slammed a locker door closed, revealing that she'd changed into a glittery black velour jumpsuit, her long black hair spilling out from the cinched hood. When she turned to take an over-the-shoulder selfie, I noticed the back of the jumpsuit was covered in blinding rhinestone letters spelling La Puzza. Nice, right? Means the stink, she said. It isn't exactly incognito. We never discussed outfits. Well, you look ridiculously gorgeous always. I'm just trying to keep up, she said, blowing me air kisses. Everyone deserves a best friend who makes you feel like a movie star when you're sporting stained khakis and last year's field day t-shirt. Plus, I couldn't leave the house in it this morning, she went on. Moms were doing sunrise yoga and thought I'd dress to join them. Gracie got out an eyeliner pencil and began drawing whiskers from her nose across her cheeks. It's like they're trying to make sure my gag reflex still works in case they ever need to leave me alone around small objects. Shh. I could have sworn I'd heard something, even though we should have had the locker room to ourselves for another half hour. Gracie dropped her voice to a whisper that was still somehow louder than most people talk. Did your parentals ask what this equipment was all about? I gave her the universal sign for zip it and wondered why we bothered spending all of winter break working on our telepathy if she refused to use it. There was nothing to tell, anyway. My parents and little sister barely looked up from their cereal bowls when I jetted out that morning. If I'm not causing trouble, I might as well be invisible. And that's when I saw it. A flash of neon coming down the aisle. Duck, I said. Gracie stuck her lips out and pouted over her shoulder for another selfie. No, not duck face, I said, pulling her down behind the bench with me. Maybe it was the head custodian, Mr. Allen. Maybe it was a kid who had a real sloppy Joe stomachache. I only hoped it wasn't Madison, who'd been missing at gym, or one of the other cheerleaders. Just then, a shadow cast over us. I looked up to find Ruth and Mary Miller, the most popular girls in school. If Darlington Middle were the savannah, these girls were lionesses, and Gracie and I were rabid honey badgers they liked to share a lunch carcass with occasionally. Hey, idiots, they said in unison. You two are looking very fluorescent, Gracie said as we stood back up. A whole administrative vibe with the safety vest that I'm loving. With great office assistant power comes a great big smock. What are you doing in here? Ruth said. More importantly, Mary chimed in, you're coming over this weekend, right? It's quiz night and you missed the last one.